Happy Friday, folks. Today we're talking about my favorite cigars of 2024 in the luxury space. I was going to do one giant video, but then I thought it would make more sense to break it down into the luxury space, and I'll figure out the other two spaces probably tomorrow and the day after. But first, an apology. About 2.5 weeks ago, I said we had a whole lot of work to do to round out the end of the year and review everything that I hadn't been able to smoke yet. And then the flu happened, and then pneumonia happened, and life sucked for a while. But we are back. There is a giant caveat that I did not get through several amazing cigars by amazing blenders and amazing factories. So take this with a grain of salt, but these are my favorite 3 luxury cigars of 2024. Let's start with the Eladio Diaz 71 Aniversario. This is the famed birthday blend that until last year, it was impossible to find out in the wild. You couldn't buy these, you had to be given these. And a lot of folks that went down to the DR or saw Eladio out and about were lucky enough to try these, but not very many people. Last year was the 70th Aniversario. This year is the 71 birthday blend, and it is fantastic. If you've been curious, maybe the 70th didn't do it for you, and you're like, I don't know. The 71 is phenomenal. And since we didn't break it down in a whole video, I'm just going to describe it really fast. It has a dusty cedar impression. It has a little bit of cream with a wafer-like sweetness. There is also something that reminds me so much of old books, that slight vanilla hint, a chocolatey sensation that just builds throughout the whole cigar. It starts off right now as a milk chocolate expression, and then it gets a little darker, and then it combines into a mocha-like sensation as it gets to the final third. But this is exactly what you want in a luxury experience. It is very smooth, delectable. The retrohale is amazing. It's complex. It's complex in the tasting notes right now, but also as it shifts throughout the whole length of the cigar. And these were made at Eladio's new factory, new-ish. I think it's been three and a half years since he opened it up. Maybe 2.5. But he's doing amazing work, not only for himself, but for other folks. And this blend, exceptional, really good. Next up, we have my nemesis, the Davidoff Maduro, specifically in the Toro format. I love this cigar. It's my nemesis because I would smoke it every day if I could. It's exactly what I would want from a Davidoff Maduro expression. It is creamy. It has a little bit of floral attitude every now and then. It is rowdy. It has a huge array of chocolate nuances throughout the entire experience. There's a little bit of marzipan that comes and goes as well. That cigar is just, it's everything I was hoping for and more. Here's a little bit of what I said about it in the Cigar of the Week video. There is a little bit of pepper happening, but not too much, and a little bit of earth. But the driving force right this moment is a brownie sensation. The chocolate is coming through in spades, and then it shifts kind of to a mocha-like sensation on the finish. Damn good start. And lastly, I want to talk about the Peter James Emergence. It is crafted at Luciano's factory in Nicaragua. This cigar, I didn't see a whole lot of press about, but I was very impressed, to try and use a pun there. This cigar tasted very aged. They had a new fermentation technique, a slow burn, if you will. I don't know what that's all about. I need to dig into the weeds on that one. But it tasted like very well-aged vintage tobaccos. They were working in concert together. It was an incredible experience from start to finish. You were able to retrohale the entire cigar. The flavors were vibrant enough to be very, very enjoyable, but they were also sophisticated and delicate enough to make it feel like that luxury experience they were going for. Out of all 3 of these, that is the most expensive, which is probably why it hasn't received a whole lot of press. But even knowing the price point going into it, I had a certain bar in my head of what I was going to expect and what I was going to receive, and everything was met. I was very satisfied, very happy by the end of that cigar. And at the end of the day, a lot of these luxury cigars, they have a little bit of a disadvantage because when you see the price point, you automatically have very high expectations. So for a cigar of that caliber of price point to meet those expectations and exceed them, I think is a pretty good hallmark of a great experience. And here's what I said about Emergence by Peter James and Luciano in our review video. This cigar does taste sophisticated to me. It's got a lot of really soft, delicate, subtle notes. It is not overpowering. It's not particularly an overwhelming cigar, which is great because if you're fermenting these things for extra long, whether low heat or not, you shouldn't have a ton of punch in the face at that point. And my first impressions so far have been earthy caramels. There was almost a tangy earth in the very beginning, but like 2 puffs in that disappeared, and it just had like an earthy backbone to the caramel sensations. A latte sensation as well that was wholly independent, not a caramel latte. No, no. And a breadiness that you know I love so much. But also, there is a cola syrup happening as well. And it's like the syrup is following through the texture. It is a syrupy texture, but also a little bit of that flat cola taste. And lastly, guys, tell the women in your lives how cold it is when you smoke outside. They will come up with great ideas that I wouldn't have came up with on my own. For instance, this right here is a heated blanket. I've got it wrapped around my legs. I take my hands when I'm not gesturing wildly and I put them inside and they warm me up. I've got the same heated blanket behind me. That's right. I'm basically a sandwich right now of heat. It's phenomenal. It changed everything about the way I smoke outside. I no longer come in after a few hours and just hate life. Women are smart, so let them know what you're dealing with, and they will come up with solutions that we might not otherwise do. We usually just tough it out and suck it up, and there's better ways, guys. Better ways. All right, that's it from us from the luxury best cigars of 2024. We'll see you very soon. I'm not going to jinx it by saying tomorrow like I did last month, but we've got a few more categories coming up for you. Have an awesome day and Happy New Year.